Now, Patrick, please, we are blessed to have you here as well. I'm sorry that it worked out geometrically that you are last, but there was nothing intentional on that. But thank you for being here, and we look forward to hearing you. Thank you.
Of course, they save the tallest person for last. My name is Brother Patrick Muhammad, and I'm a student in the ministry of the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Mr. And I'm going to share our understanding of Islam, our practice of Islam, but I want to make it just a tad bit interactive so you can get a full understanding. So the first thing I want to ask is, and you can do it by a show of hands, how many people could identify their grandfather or grandparents? Just raise your hand. Okay, great-grandparents. All right, it's getting a little tough now. Great-great-grandparent. Raise your hand. How many people could trace their lineage? Maybe 100 years. Okay? How about 200 years? Let's take a stretch in 300 years. That's amazing that you could be able to trace your history. Now imagine a people that are in a country, and when they arrive in a country, they have no knowledge of their original name, their original language, their original culture, and more importantly, their original God. Now, not only did they not know that, but they were given someone else's name. They were given someone else's culture. They were forced to learn someone else's language, and guess what? They were given someone else's God. Now, if you have no connection to your original source, then you fall in love of what you have been given. So you believe that what you have been given to be the absolute truth and the entire part of the historical nature of that people. But then there's a man. And the man that we think is Fard Muhammad, a man born in Mecca, that came to America, went in and out of America for 20 years, and he found a man named Elijah Poole, ironically right here from Sandusville, Georgia. But they met in Detroit, Michigan. Fard Muhammad began to teach in this community that's absent of the name, the language, the God, the culture of their original name, their original language, their original God. And so, of course, there became an affinity to this Fard Muhammad because, hey, nobody else came to tell us what happened in those 400 years that we now know as the transatlantic slave trade. So Fard Muhammad began to teach Elijah Poole, and he taught him of Islam, and he taught him of the Prophet, and he taught him of the beauty of Islam and the Prophet and how we had been disconnected from that history, that knowledge, and that wisdom. So Elijah Poole became the first student of Fard, and now we know him as the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so the honorable Elijah Muhammad began to teach Islam in the black community in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. And so this was new to those in the black community who had only accepted the gift that appeared that we thought we were given, and rejected Islam because it looked foreign. Well, of course it's going to look foreign if you haven't known of it for 400 years. So there was this rejection of Islam, acceptance of Christianity. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad kept continuing to teach Islam. And he taught it in a unique way so that we could understand the importance of Islam and the true disconnect. Some of the famous students that, of course, you would know of the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad would be Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, this form of Islam has always had the direction of introducing us to the total practices of traditional Islam. But if you've never had any Islam, you have to get small chunks at a time. And you begin to master those small chunks at a time. So initially you didn't see the Muslims in the Nation of Islam doing the 5 prayers. But we were taught how to pray because we had lost a disconnection of prayer and we didn't know who we could pray to. In the transatlantic slave trade, if there was any resemblance of Islam, those were killed outright. There was no standing on the shores and screaming, shouting Allahu Akbar. If those persons at that initial time recited that, they were killed outright. So there was a fear factor that was attached to Islam. Thus, continue to disassociate ourselves with Islam. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is working in America and abroad today, is teaching the community, the black community, and the community abroad of Islam. But remember, there is a fear factor and an initial rejection of Islam. So our purpose has been to tell as many in our communities of what we have lost. Can you imagine someone taking something from you and never telling you what they took from you? So you're searching for something, but you can't even identify what you're searching for. So how do you know when you found it? How do you know if you have identified or connected to that source? It has to start from you. Islam connects to all of us, whether we're Christian, whether we're Muslim, whether we understand it or not, because it's the total submission to God. And so that has resonated in our communities. Now, when you think about the airport, and you know it's kind of interesting to talk about airport, with us Muslims today. But think about airport, and think about the Atlanta airport. The Atlanta airport sits right off of 85 South. Now, if I'm Sunni, I could get on 285. And I could travel on 285 to get to the airport. If I'm Shia, I can get on 75 South. And I can get to the airport. I can even hop on Highway 20 and take some back streets as a Quranist and get to the airport. I can be Ishmaelite. And I can take 85 South. And guess what? I can arrive at the airport. The airport is all of our destinations, but we may choose a different route to get there. If Islam is the destination, if being a good Muslim is our destination, then we're all going to take different routes. But what we have to make sure is when we get to the airport, we take our shoes off. We have to make sure now that we are the best of citizens in America. Because today, Islam, the book we say who's speaking for Islam is CNN. It's C-SPAN. It's Fox News. And the view of Islam that they're giving is now not only instilling fear in the black community, it's instilling fear in all mankind. So when I go around, I say I'm Patrick Muhammad. Initially, the antennas go up. Why? Because I'm Muslim. Then I'm a black Muslim in America. Now, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked to the African Americans, the black community, because he wanted us to learn how to really fall in love again with Islam. And now the horizon has broadened. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 1997 hosted the Islamic conference. Jetties from all over the world came to Chicago. And they learned our form of Islam and began to say, hey, we thought you guys were these radicals in America with your form of Islam, but now we can see the universality of Islam. What I would like us to really continue to do, and AIF, you have done a wonderful job in doing this, we have to make sure that we build a bridge, as I heard Brian say, between Islam and the other forms of faith. Because as a Muslim in America, remember, I grew up in the church. Because why? My parents cannot trace their history that far back. They only took what grandmama had, what great-grandma had, is what we got when we got here. So growing up in the church, I had that same, something's not missing something. I understood about Jesus. I wanted to be a good Christian, but something was missing. And I tell you when my life changed. It was October the 16th, 1995. Growing up in East St. Louis, Illinois, knowing that as a black man I should be dead at 18 or in jail, standing on a mall with 2 million men that look like me. No one smoking, no one drinking, no one cussing, no one fighting. If someone had to go to the restroom, a brother picked the brother up and passed him to the restroom. I could not believe what I saw. But on that day, I believed that I saw a glimpse of heaven, a glimpse of the hereafter, where there's true peace, there's true salam. And the man that ushered that in for me was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I could accept the day because the man brought me to learn of the beauty that we all are searching for. So I thank you all for allowing us to come, and I look forward to sharing this beautiful day with you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Well, have you been blessed already? Good. Well, please stand up and stretch. We are going to make sure you write down questions. I'm sure that you have quite a few. Pass them to some of the ladies here, and take a break. What is the time frame approximately?
Try to stick to 5 minutes.
We say 5, but obviously that has nothing to do with relevance or reality. Right.